Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Pinball FX2. So today is finally the day. Last time we did Marvel Wolverine and we've now done all the Star Wars, we've now done all the Marvel. The only thing we have left are the independent or individually licensed tables, with the only one being left is Sorcerer's Lair. Now, for me, it's been a little bit of a break. I got a little busy, started recording Skyrim Special Edition. It came out, and I'm trying to get that out much earlier than I normally do. We can again check for the last time here, since this is our last episode in this series. There may very well be a point in which I get some of these other tables on sale and play them, but they have to be pretty cheap, particularly after going through over 60 tables here, or about 60 tables, and not liking half of them. And that's not even an exaggeration. Let's see what the achievements are here. 6-way combo, and take down the spiders in 20 seconds in the cellar. Alright, let's start playing. This will be interesting because, well, I guess I'm recording this on Halloween. It's not going to air anytime around then. To give you an idea of how early I usually record stuff. And this is an interesting theme in the first place, because it's kind of like a haunted mansion for little kids. It looks like there might be a spinner there. There's a sorcerer up there. There's a really sharp angle ramp there, a cross shot, tree up there. It looks like there's a sinkhole, target launcher, maybe a drop down target launcher too. That goes to the same place. It shoots it up and then just deposits the ball right in the end lane. That's not very far journey. So we see a ghost, kind of like Casper, skeleton. Pop-up bumpers look like grates with ooze under them. Then a really far in lane, and then this top playfield. How do you get to that top playfield? Because there's definitely some cross shots that I want to do. Oh, you have to hit the citadel shot to get up there. Alright. And then it looks like it might be a 3-way diverter if you sink into the target there. Let's start playing, I guess.
Welcome to the Sorcerer's Lair.
So, having taken a bit of a break, my dislike of how the tables have turned out is kind of tempered.
Whisper isn't here yet.
To the fact that I've been playing, well, Skyrim, a completely different game. That allows me to kind of forget some of the problems here. I don't have to particularly immediately get that feeling that
Where could Whisper
I don't
be?
have to say, well, there's too many ramps here. I don't even think that that's particularly true on this table. The gears are distracting. The animation, though, is really nice. It's been kind of lackluster on the table art, but also the table art doesn't really matter, so it looks like the houses are gonna spin the divert. That'll be interesting.
I don't see Whisper anywhere.
Kind of got into the bumpers kind of easily too. We might very well have one of the best tables here. Let's see. There are some sharp shots, but if I can pull them off, if this doesn't turn into one of those
Whisper.
tables where we die all the time. Whisper wards crazy spinners. So Whisper is the name of the ghost. That's a good name
Whisper
for
isn't here
a
yet.
ghost, actually. This almost feels like there's a cartoon I'm just not familiar with, of kids in their new version of Casper the Friendly Ghost. And those Whisper
There's a
Casper.
secret door here.
Oh, instead of being just a spinner, the spinner raised into a spiral staircase ramp. Interesting.
Skeletons are coming! Let's get out of here!
So there's a real story being told in this table, too. I guess I'm trying to run away, so I'm probably supposed to shoot the out lanes, or the spinner, or something. Something that would be an easy representation of running. Shoot the blinking things, that is typically the issue. See, he seems to be getting ahead and getting away from me as I shoot the out lanes. But are they gonna capture me? I don't know if I got caught there or if I succeeded. I don't know if you can get caught, because that might be a little bit morbid.
The shortcut is now open to you.
Shortcut.
Where could Whisper be?
Interesting. It looks like they have full lane diverters on the outer ramp. That is nice. I wish half the tables in Pinball FX had something like that, because that adds something to the game and makes it easier to play, right? So instead of being a kickback, you get a diverter. It's the same thing, although slightly nicer, because kickbacks are at times random. I've had shots where the ball's been kicked back and then it immediately just drains down the center of the gutter. Doesn't happen a lot, but it is kind of irritating. And then we've locked the first ball, I believe. It says ball one taken instead of locked. That's a little confusing, but okay.
Take my hand.
And this is like one of those kids things that I think kind of works.
Shortcut.
You've got this sister with flashlight, this brother, I assume they're brother and sister, with the
There is no escape for trespassers.
oh man, those tiny little flippers is gonna be really difficult. I'm gonna have to make sure to really launch the ball.
Leaving so soon.
The table gets dark. I love this purplish theme. What's the skill shot? I wonder. Hopefully it has a skill shot. Some of the tables don't even have skill shots. It seems ridiculous.
I'm not going to let a stupid old tree stop me.
Splendid!
So now we're fighting the tree, I guess. Trying to go up the Citadel ramp.
That tree is stronger than it looks.
Leaving so soon.
Like, entire voice acting. The music still is kind of weird to have music in a pinball game, but it's appropriate and it sounds fine. It's not too distracting or obnoxiously out there. That certainly was a problem with the Star Wars tables as they were playing the very recognizable Star Wars themes. I'm seeing a little bit of sluggishness happening here, which is not acceptable.
Continue to disturb me, interlopers!
Is that ball one or ball two? So we're almost ready for a multi-ball.
I don't see Whisper anywhere.
Anything. I saw a sad statement, but it is in line with what I had heard, that the latest Scooby-Doo cartoon actually is so cheaply animated, it looks much worse than what the Scooby-Doo cartoon from 10-20 years ago looked like. There's another thing about Scooby-Doo that certain people they make a good point, but you wouldn't really
There you are,
recognize
Whisper.
it. Scooby-Doo the dog has docked ears, and there's really no reason to dock a dog's ears. Basically, cut them. They sometimes do that to stray or field cats that they'll release in farms
Whisper
to catch
isn't here yet.
rodents and stuff. So you know it's an outside, not domesticated cat. Again, that's probably mostly out of laziness than or out of the fact that the cat might very well not wear a collar. But there's no reason to do it to a dog.
Now I will get through you, whatever it takes.
This is interesting.
Magnificent!
The ball was behind him when it activated that.
Leaving so soon.
So hitting the tree is a bad angle to come back from. But overall, I'm liking this table. Alright, 9 million's nothing. Are we gonna get above our 2.25 score? Well, if we are, we're gonna have to get, I think, another 20 million. So 29 million is our goal on this table.
Welcome!
It's kind of nice to take a little bit of a break and not have to be frustrated about the previous tables, but we haven't even really run into some downright awful tables for a little while at least. General, shoot the magic cellar for different challenges. Every visit, get as many enchanted obsidian stones as possible and unlock the powers against the sorcerer's creations at midnight. So there's a time mechanism. The following describes with extraordinary efforts the stones can be acquired. Did that mean how the stones can be acquired? Cellar modes. In order to gain interest, you must hit the 3 guardian stones. Okay. Then the stairway emerges. Gates to the void. Shoot these things there. Bones. Shoot those things. Arachnid attack. Hit those things. Ooh. Behind the walls. There's a whole other mini game. Where does the ball even start here? I don't even know what I'm trying to do. There are many hidden mechanisms in the castle, and the kids find a mechanical toy on one of the walls. Move the ball from the entry to the exit to solve the puzzle and receive the next obsidian stone. What is the ball even? What are you controlling here? That's the real question. Is what are you controlling? Where does the ball start? Where doesn't the ball end? I imagine it starts at the top right. Maybe. Crazy ghost, hit the ghosts. Creepy cellar, I believe that's the one we got before. So we're trying to acquire obsidian. Freaky forest, we started that several times. Tower crawling combo. And then the illusion mastery combo. It's that cross shot. Multi-ball, we almost had multi-ball. You have to shoot from up there and lock the ball. You know that. And then the sorcerer's multi-ball. I think is probably a quick multi-ball. No, it's just 2 different 3-ball multi-balls. Outline dividers by spelling ghost. And extra ball by shooting that when it's lit. Alright. So I think I know everything. Although that doesn't really line up with the achievements. I'm still kind of confused what I'm supposed to do with those.
Whisper isn't here yet.
A lot of Whisper rewards, if you can get them, would be a good shot to practice on. A lot of center right shots to open the stairway, because that's how you start the missions. Unlike most of the Zen tables here, there is still a considerable amount of work you have to do to start a mission. Hit 3 targets, then hit the sinkhole target that pops up. 3 more to all go to tree bursting.
What's that? We've got to get past the ghosts.
Crazy ghosts. See, this is the kind of I would kind of hope that there was some kind of cartoon that kids could watch. I think it's part of a healthy mental diet to watch Scooby-Doo and such to realize ghosts aren't real and you don't have to be afraid of them, and it's usually people focused. Watching Scooby-Doo in general is a really good way to introduce the idea of being skeptical to kids, not just believing things at first sight. Although, ironically, in raising a kid, you want them to, most parents want them to not question adults, so it's sometimes seen as slightly counterproductive in parenting to say, no, actually question what people say. It particularly does not help anything in schools to sit there and question the teacher. Even when you get to a college level, most college professors just want to lecture at you and tell you things as they say things or as they say, and not be debated or questioned. It takes a really scientific mind, which not that many people have, to allow true skepticism and debate to happen. I don't like these gears, but I bet hitting the slingshots might be moving towards that secret mechanism. If it is, that would be a weird way to start any mission. We have seen some tables that use slingshots more than I've ever seen in real tables. I've never felt that was something. And again, even though the table is spinning, it doesn't feel like the ball really is affected by the spin of the thing. It almost seems like there's just a piece of glass above it, and the spin is only for decoration. I just don't think the Zen Pinball FX2 engines can handle spinning surfaces and friction. The weirdness of pinball is that as you try to make it more like the real world, the more you have to simulate the real world as far as friction and surface tension and such things. Gravity. Another weird thing is, because this series has been going so long, it is possible that I will play Pinball Arcade right after this. Maybe that's a bad idea, but because it'll just be too much pinball, but it would also be a good comparison. And because I'm playing Skyrim right now, I probably won't stop playing Skyrim to do the next thing I record for a while, which means I will have a much longer extended break from pinball than it will seem from people who are watching pinball. And this series in particular is a little bit different because each table is different. It would be the same thing in Pinball Arcade. We just play each table for an hour, and that for the tables I've actually purchased, that's not even that many. You're talking maybe 5 or 6 hours. Almost lost the ball there. Coming back down that ramp is really, really dangerous. That's
to the Sorcerer's
angle
Lair.
I don't like. There's the skill shot. It has to be, if there is a skill shot at all, it has to be shooting it up and getting it to come back down. Because going all the way around doesn't make any sense. There we go. I like all these shots. I like this table design. Nothing wrong with it. I kind of want to know the whole story now. That's really...
Leaving so soon.
I guess this is a great example of like why their licenses have, in my mind, failed. Is I don't feel like that buying the Star Wars tables would really push you to wanting to go watch the Star Wars movies. I don't feel like buying the Marvel tables would push you to go read the Marvel comic books. And Marvel in particular is weird about doing things backwards that way. It's like, we already know you're a fan of Marvel comics, so we'll sell you this pinball table even if you're not a fan of pinball. And it's like, no, I don't
see
think
Whisper anywhere.
that's really gonna get you very many sales. It should be the other way around. We should get the pinball fans who don't like Marvel comics to want to read the comics. And since pinball tables have at least a little bit of trouble, if not a lot of trouble, telling a tale, it's hard to get complicated stories here. Even in this table that is theoretically the most interesting license to something that doesn't have a license,
Let's get out of
it's
here.
not telling us much of a story. You could sell a toy line on this. I remember Mad Max toys used to be out. They're pretty unsafe toys, so you can't have the originals these days, but there was a whole toy line that was based on the story, and then I think the cartoon of it came out after to expand on it. And this feels very much like this. You could have toys based around this, and then you can make a cartoon around it too. And if I were younger and had more free time, I'd probably want to watch something like this.
Whisper isn't here yet.
Again, we also have to address the sad fact that cartoons are pretty much going the way of the dinosaur in a lot of ways. They were always attempts to sell toys in advertisements, but kids these days are more interested in playing interactive things on their parents' cell phones than watching
Where
that.
could Whisper
Or
be?
they'll just watch other kinds of content on YouTube, which probably can be made cheaper than what you would get on TV. Animators in particular suffer on YouTube because it takes them way too much time and work to make a very short amount of time, and YouTube pays out its ad revenue based on how long you watch something. So if you're trying to animate something versus somebody
I
just
hate spiders.
standing,
Spiders? No match for my slingshot.
darn it, these tiny little flippers, I do not like those. That's something I wish you could just change. I wish there was a 3D modeling system here where you could just change everything you didn't like on the table. Just grab an edge and stretch it out. Make a table with one giant flipper that just flips the ball all the way up. Get rid of the gutters.
Leaving so soon.
That's really where the idea of using the Unreal Engine to make your own pinball table probably has a lot of value. But then you would have to be an expert at programming with the Unreal Engine. So, what was the skill shot there? I just don't think there is a skill shot. That's a shame. Again, I think every table needs a skill shot. There's no point in even having a plunger launch if there's no skill shot. Well, there's very little point, and I suppose it gives you the opportunity to see in two different places. Is that ball number 1 or ball number 2? It's ball number 1. The sorcerer part of the sorcerer's lair makes no sense. They should have just called it Haunted Mansion and been done with it.
Whisper isn't here yet.
Like, I don't think Disney really could defend the concept of a haunted mansion, even though they may try to claim it.
I don't see Whisper anywhere.
There was certainly movies and books and phrases that talked about it way before there. As long as you don't completely copy their ride, which people have actually completely copied their rides as mods to, I think, Counter-Strike Go. By calling it Sorcerer's Lair means nothing. He's not even really doing magic. We're not collecting alchemy stones. We're not summoning creatures. Yeah, it's totally
Skeletons
a
are
long
coming.
name.
Let's get out of here.
It really is. Now there is a real-world pinball table called Sorcerer, and I think there's a real-world pinball table called Lair, and so is that the reference? Maybe. Did they take elements from Sorcerer and Lair and combine them together, and that's why this is called Sorcerer's Lair? If they did, I can't recognize that.
There's a secret door here.
Many people would recognize that. The center shot really helps on the escape path there. That's a nice mission to pull off. How do I get the score multiplier up though? We really must cover the fact that they do a terrible job explaining these tables. I could play almost every single Zen table for 24 hours in total. Not straight. I wouldn't do that to myself. That would be a nightmare. But 24 hours, and after 24 hours, I still don't think I would understand 100% of all the elements and modes and what does what on the tables.
Whisper is here.
Whisper here is not really doing too much for the story. She's just a random reward. But it's cool. So apparently some of those either slingshot hits or the drop down targets on the edges are what increase the score multiplier. If you were going to play as a pro, you would get really good at getting the score multiplier up.
I'm not going to let a stupid old tree stop me.
Oh, there's an achievement.
Extra ball is lit.
Leaving so soon.
Probably wouldn't be too much to change a table like this to license it to something like Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter does have a tree.
Where could Whisper be?
That is a great example of just like, it doesn't really matter what the theme is on the table at all. As long as it's slightly fun and not incredibly offensive, like I found the Shaman table. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal of that, but it wasn't a good table either.
Barricade the passageways, my kids.
Alright, multi-ball. It could be anything. Compare this to El Dorado, though, on the amount of characters. I wish I knew who these characters' names were. I didn't care about the adventurers' names in El Dorado. I wish I knew more of the story in this table. I didn't really care to see any more story in El Dorado. There was barely any story in it in the first place. The table itself in El Dorado is not as good as this table design, true, but
Stop it! Leave me be!
let's see, I guess I'm trying to shoot from the stairway, but the light tells me to shoot somewhere else.
Leaving so soon.
Interesting. This table almost feels like there was two people designing the table and they had different concepts competing. Like, we're gonna have to ghost haunted house, and we're gonna have to sorcerer, and wouldn't be surprised if it started off as two table concepts and they got merged together. Some CEO somewhere said, they're close enough, when they really aren't. When I think sorcerer, I think more alchemy, more diamonds, just more mature subject matter than haunted house. Because when I think haunted house, I think Halloween, I think little kids. I think that you can take almost any haunted house story with little kids and just assume it's all their imagination and nothing is real. You can't do that with most sorcerer stories. You have to assume that there is a level of reality in that universe. It's about somebody who actually has an expertise on doing something with doing magic versus just magic happening around you. Taking me out of the game for a while there as the slingshots decide to take their sweet time. So I need to shoot up the Citadel ramp before
Don't
to
be
get
afraid.
the free ball, extra ball, and then shoot across when I get up the Citadel ramp, which is going to be difficult. It feels like this cross shot might actually get the ball close to that upper left playfield, but it doesn't. I think you could have made a simple tweak there and had it go to the playfield, double the opportunities to do that shot. This game feels very jittery though still, and that's the real killer of this table. I would like to continue to play this table, but I might very well after another hour of gameplay decide, nah, I'm not gonna play it very much because of the engine just not being smooth. We're up to 12 million. I want to see when we lose this game, whenever that happens, how long I've been playing. To me, it feels like it's only been 5 minutes, but I suspect it's been longer.
What's that?
Maybe even 40
We need to get
minutes.
through them.
It'd be
Whisper isn't
kind
here
of
yet.
difficult for me to overplay more than 20 minutes on something.
Leaving so soon.
No, it's been 35 minutes.
Splendid! Welcome
I have
to the
at least
Sorcerer's
a
Lair.
rudimentary sense of time. So get ready, shoots up here, and then the cross
Don't be
shot.
afraid.
Is there anything else I would want in this table? Well, I'd like to get to the
Leaving
mechanical
so
section,
soon.
but I'm not sure how. Each one of those rocks down there are a piece of obsidian, which tells me either there's way too many missions in this before you get like a final main mission or reset everything. I don't
Take
know.
my hand.
Or you get more than one piece of obsidian, because I'm looking at 12 missions here. Well, 12 pieces of obsidian
Leaving so
versus
soon.
one giant piece. And that seems quite an extreme amount. We didn't get any jackpots during the multi-ball, unfortunately. It was a kind of a weak multi-ball. I've not enjoyed most of the multi-balls that we've played on these tables. They end really quickly and they're not super fun. We don't get that
Welcome
jackpot
to
sound effect
oblivion.
that I would like. So we're shooting through portals here. It seems we have 32 seconds to do that.
We need Whisper's help. Whoa, where am I? I wouldn't try this again.
So I need to hit
Let
Whisper.
me help you first.
So I've got to get into the Whisper sinkhole, which is kind of a difficult shot, before I can hit the others. And see, I've got 1 second left. And I lost the ball. Oh, what a terrible game that was.
To the Sorcerer's Lair.
Just shoot it all the way, I guess. It just seems to be no skill shot. So, in both failing to explain all the elements of the table and failing to
I
explain
don't
the
see Whisper
characters,
anywhere.
that there's a definite major failings, and they just don't feel like they put enough effort into something like this. And then,
Leaving
I
so
guess
soon.
they kind of always knew they were going to only charge a few dollars for a table. So maybe they knew already that they were going cheap, and maybe that was the right way to go.
Whisper isn't here yet.
In comparison, Pinball Arcade Season 1 is about $10 for 4, 5, 6 tables at most. But they're real-world pinball tables that
Where could
people
Whisper be?
spent millions of dollars developing, and that's where you start to feel the differences. If somebody was making these old tables, they were going into arcades to make profit for arcade owners, so you would pay a couple $1,000s for a single table, and the millions of dollars in development for that $4,000 table might very well be recouped very quickly and profitable all around. It is also an interesting
Ball locked.
bit of economics, I suppose, that
This secret
you're
passage may save
taking literally quarters away from little kids mostly and making
Oh, I hate
thousands
spiders.
of dollars
Spiders? No match for my slingshot.
in profit over a long period. Oh, I got 2 spiders done. I don't think the sister gets enough voice acting there. It doesn't feel like it's equal at all. And that, if they couldn't voice act the right lines for the sister character, then they might as well have left her off the story. I think it works probably better as a trio, but it's, if you're not going to give a character something to do, you don't need to create them. That was, of course, a flaw in a lot of cartoons, is there was just tons of characters that had very little to do in most episodes. Gates to the void.
Step into the gates of the void.
So I've got to get the ball either to the right flipper or I've got to do a
Where
really
am I?
difficult shot. And there's Whisper. Alright, so that powers the ball up
The gate is destroyed.
and destroy the gate. So I could
Good
get
work,
3 of
Whisper.
them
We
pretty
closed the
easily.
gate.
But that cross shot is going to be a difficult one. Because the cross shot in particular is kind of wild. It goes in several different ways. This is a great example of it. Most of the cross shots are a little bit tighter than this and have less ways you can move the ball. I have 5 seconds remaining. It's not going to happen.
Lost, are we?
You found a shortcut.
We got another Whisper reward if we can get in there.
Whisper is here.
Extra ball is lit.
So, the other achievement was to get rid of a bunch of spiders, and the only spiders we've seen is in that mini game. And I don't think I'm ever going to get that done. That mini game table has problems with the flippers being too short. Overall, I like this table though. It's still got problems. We've yet to see a perfect table or even arguably a extremely good Zen table. And when we do have a good one like this, it is just shocking, and it feels like it's made by some other intern or some other team versus all the others, because the vast majority of tables are repetitive and boring and have like nothing.
Ow, my leg.
Ow, her leg. Oh no, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear somebody
Ew,
getting hurt.
disgusting. There's the way out. Go.
Alright, so let's see if we can do this.
Splendid.
We did it. That's an interesting thing. And we got 1 piece of obsidian for it, and that's the first piece of obsidian we found.
Your presence is an insufferable affront. Leave!
And we're up to 10 million here. Our goal, if we were going to get to 2,225,000,000, was to get about 30 million, I think. So we need to triple my score. This game would have to go on long, and I would have to get very successful. Which it might happen. I'm not saying it won't. It's just a
Don't be
unlikely.
afraid.
We didn't get any really extremely long tape games. Ooh. That's interesting. The ball jumped. I was wondering if something like that happened. The ball is stuck. It's gonna get destroyed and shot here. Which is not the way real world pinball tables fix that.
I don't see
when
Whisper
that happens.
anywhere.
That's what I figured would happen though, is we would eventually run into the stairs revealing themselves, and I would be able to hit the ball back really fast and jump it. No reward for doing that. It seems like if you could get the ball stuck, it should give you
Radiance of the
something.
void, I
Give
summon
you a
you!
personal achievement just in general for all Pinball FX. See, if pinball machines were modern machines, they would be sending back bug reports. The ball was stuck. Let's connect to the internet. Please put a description here what happened that the ball got stuck. And then I guess if it was a modern game, they'd come out with a patch for the table with something different. And I guess, thank goodness that stuff like that doesn't happen, because
Submersions are
in the
persistent.
end,
Take this and leave me alone!
flippers switch the rotation. I see. Alright.
This doesn't make any sense.
And I crushed the ball, don't I? So you gotta be careful there. Pull that off. But we at least did it once. I didn't think we'd succeed on the first try. That would have been a little too lucky. I don't know what Spelling Citadel actually does.
What's that? We've got to get past the ghosts.
The amount of mini missions and having them be easy. See, they could have gone like so many other tables and said, well, one of these is going to be phase 1 of mission 1, one of these is going to be phase 2 of mission 1, one of these is going to be phase 3 of mission 1.
Where could Whisper
That
be?
thus eliminates the chance of players seeing
The
half of
ghost!
the things.
It's back!
Or a third of the things even. Instead, just having everything started, capable of being started right at the beginning is really nice. Darn it.
Leaving so soon.
It does also feel like there's no switch here between
Take my hand.
the kids, so in general I would just assume you're playing as the little boy the whole game. Whisper and the sister there.
I'm not going to let a stupid old tree stop me.
I would have tried to make half these missions be voiced and directed as if the girl
Whisper
is
isn't here
taking
yet.
charge. Frankly, the girl looks like she's the older sibling too, so it would only make sense that they would take charge. Although,
That tree is stronger than it looks.
we didn't finish the tree fight, but at least we didn't die on it, which is better than the last time. A few times we've done that. You have to hit some pretty strong shots
Leaving so soon.
on this, but... So 21, how long have we been playing? 47 minutes, let's play.
Welcome to the Sorcerer's Lair.
I have no reason to really stop. There's only been about 3 tables that I couldn't stand to even play an hour of. And oddly, one of those was Star Wars Episode 6. This table. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I just wasn't feeling it. But it seems like a pretty bad table. Unlike so many other tables, it's strange that we're having this be the final one, because this one's actually a rather good table.
Leaving so soon.
It doesn't feel like I've seen everything. It doesn't feel like I know everything to do about this table. It's like if I put another hour or 2 in here, I would see some more things and get a better score without particularly getting super frustrated or super
Where could
bored
Whisper
with
be?
it. Darn it, missed that shot. Oh well. The way the ball seems to go under the ramp a lot is interesting too. That is, you could have had it under the ramp closed off, and thus the ball would just curve and feed down the center lane. But instead, by having it sneak behind the ramp, it actually moves the ball further to
The
the
secret passage may save you.
to the right, which means you're less likely to lose
You're
the
good at
ball.
this stuff. Can you solve it? Yeah? Just watch me.
See, the sister is asking the brother to do it.
This doesn't make any sense.
I think to get over there, you're gonna have to flip to get past that point, you're gonna have to flip it back and forth.
I don't see Whisper anywhere.
Tiny little problem here. Like, I don't know these characters. I don't know how much characters there are there. If this really was based on some story or comic or cartoon, sorry if what I'm about to say is totally wrong. But as this table is depicted it, they are depicting the boy as the athletic one because he's got the slingshot shot. He is the main character. And then we just had the sister say, ask him to solve the puzzle part too.
Leaving so
So, like, that doesn't leave a lot of the archetype good abilities for the sister. If she's not the strong one, the brawny one, if she's not the brains, what is she? At best, you could say she's there for moral support, and that's kind of lame. And the ghost, of course, is there for the magical, so she has no skills. That's a very different. That's too mature of a story to have a character that has no skills. And yet they're still allowed in the group or welcome in the group. Again, I feel like that's probably just we're gonna play one more game. It probably won't be that long. Just bad, not thinking things through. Obviously, like, even if you're just drawing a single picture of a character, if you're an artist, you should, in your head,
where could Whisper be?
You don't have to tell anybody about it, but you should have a backstory, and the backstory should be
Whisper isn't
make
here
sense
yet.
and be good. So you almost need to be moderately decent at writing before you're even good at drawing if you're creating new characters. And I just don't think they thought that through. Much like I don't think they think half the pinball tables through.
Hey, Whisper!
I assume Whisper can't talk, but I think we may have actually heard her talk at certain points, so I don't know why she's not responding. I think in the Portal minigame she talks, so that's confusing too. And it's very feasible you could get a voice actor to play both a little girl and a little boy. That happens all the time, so you could have the same voice actor voice act all the characters on this table, possibly. It might be a little bit difficult for somebody who can do a little boy, little girl to also do an adult sorcerer, but depends. It really depends.
Don't be afraid.
Who you get and how capable they are. Again, still doesn't make any sense why there is a sorcerer here.
This cell is now your prison.
The art on this table actually seems like it might have been drawn by a different person too. That they just were given the same concept and told to emulate it. Because look how the kids on this table look a lot younger. They're slightly different attitude to it. It does feel like they hired out different artists to do the same thing, which is a shame because the art on this table, I really do like it. So it should match a lot more on the mini table. wherever that mini table would be in the real world. I don't know. That's one of the things that Pinball FX can get away with, is they can just have mini tables appear out of nowhere and not have to connect them to the actual pinball table.
You're good at this stuff. Can you solve it?
This you can certainly do, but on the backboards. So getting a hang of this is the problem. I don't. You have to get a level of momentum there that I don't think most people could do. So actually, I wouldn't be surprised if very few to nobody has ever beaten that section. Obviously, somebody probably has, but I wouldn't be surprised if during QA nobody beat it, and they were just like, "Well, whatever, we'll just put it in there. We already programmed it. We won't bother trying to fix it."
Take my hand.
See, take my hand. That's got to be Whisper saying that right there. So why doesn't she respond when we get the Whisper reward? I mean, all you gotta say is, "I found this," or "This is for you," or "Take this." It doesn't even have to be that big of a sentence. You could say "surprise," get it down to one word. Or "boo," get down to 3 letters. I don't think voice actors are ever paid by the letter. I think very rarely they're even paid by the word. They might have something in their contract between like 5,000 words and 50,000. And again, this table just feels laggy. If this table played well, I'd play it more. But the lagginess is gonna definitely be a problem. Nobody wants to play a game that's laggy. And there's really no reason why it should be laggy on my computer. I've got close to a pretty top of the line PC. Nothing crazy, but more than what this video game should need, and far above what the recommended settings are. It's not. It really isn't an issue of the computer not being able to handle it as
I don't
much
see
as
Whisper
the engine
anywhere.
that the game program this in is not being able to handle. Which again argues that everything should potentially be made in Unreal, because the Unreal Engine could get updated to the next version and you can do a relatively easy job of porting it over. You can see that in my coverage of the Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which is an interesting little mystery, spooky game. But the Vanishing of Ethan Carter came out on Unreal Engine 11, and they just, and Unreal Engine 12 came out, and pretty much within a week they ported it over and it ran smoother and better. A real easy job, and they just were able for free to
Step aside, you old pile of rotten wood.
Remaster a new engine upgrade without having to charge people extra for it.
Secret passageway.
Now I'm going a little bit over. So if I started succeeding really well on this table, we'll go over an hour. Is there anything I really want to say further about Zen Pinballs? in a lot of ways, it is Pinball FX2. Let's get the right name here. Is a huge step forward from Pinball FX and
Leaving so soon.
the idea of having separate tables and buying that was kind of revolutionary, and all of that. And upgrading the engine was a good idea, but making your own tables when you really don't know how to is a huge problem. And then stopping the tournaments and having your leaderboards. The fact that you added the leaderboards is amazing, but then having the leaderboards easily cheated on kind of destroys all of that. There's certainly elements here that could be added. There could be multiplayer that is over the internet where you could take turns and watch each other play. There could be a table editor. There definitely needs to be a free play mode where you just play forever and your game goes on forever. A practice mode, more of a tutorial, more of an explanation on what the tables are supposed to be like and what you're supposed to do on the tables. Just some general polish needed for everything. Here we got our 21 million was our highest score, so we are short of our little goal of having a super score of 2,250,000 by a little bit, but we got a super score up to 2,244. We multiply that by the 61 tables we own and played, and that gives me a wizard score of 136. So when we come out here and we look at the leaderboard, the high leaderboards for this table start at 2.5 billion and end at 4.2 billion. My high score was 21 million. So 20 times that would be 400 million. Nowhere close. There's either a ton of cheating here or I've played really badly. I would assume a 500 million difference here is probably a lot. 400 million difference here is kind of a lot. But then it's kind of steady for the rest of this. So at best I could say maybe these top 6 are cheating, but it might very well be nobody's cheating on this one. Of course there's certainly people cheating on the super score. Remember, my super score was 2,244. The top 10 is the number 10 place on super score is 74,000. So that means if I was playing 20 times better on every single table I played, I would only be at 40,000. And that doesn't seem right. It seems like there's a lot of people on the super scores that cheated here and there, and there's almost, without a doubt, can't prove it, but when you have huge jumps like this, some cheating here. That is a major problem with Pinball FX, and why they should probably just abandon it and go to Pinball FX3. Move all these tables over and try to double the amount over the next 3 to 5 years with newer tables, better engines, stuff like that. Because of the Pinball Wizard and Super Score. My Pinball Wizard score, how much was it? It was like 123,000? 123 million? Let's see, leaderboard for my score and my Pinball Wizard score. I guess I don't. Legacy, my legacy is 2, so I don't even know why that would be 2 because of the legacy scoreboard. Pinball Wizard here, my score is 136,884. So 20 times that on the Pinball Wizard mode doesn't seem realistic. It would only put me at 2 million, wasn't it? Yeah, about 2,660,000 points. Nowhere close to the 421 million here, and certainly nowhere close to the 629 million. Now the Pinball Wizard score, it is a little weirder though, because it is the combination of your wizard score with all your friends. So on Steam, if you had a ton of friends there, maybe you could get it up to this high, and it wouldn't be that difficult, assuming even if none of your friends cheated. But that doesn't really change the super score. It shows some obvious cheating, and even they admit it. That's why there's legacy. It's weird that the cabinet support here requires you to enter a code, and that you have to get separately. It's weird that the tournaments have not been run for a year, obviously. It's weird that there's a ton of achievements that you'll never find, which makes it pointless to have achievements in Steam, because they only highlight games where you get all the achievements, which means you would have to own all the tables and get all the achievements for every table, and they are pretty difficult ones. Again, on Sorcerer's Lair, because I don't have any friends on Steam that have played this game, I can't do challenge, I can't do Pinball King, and the local high scores are only slightly useful in telling me that they expected me to get above 10 million. So I have, on most tables, been able to get the number 1 slot. But that, not all of them. Let's see, in the description here, until 2 children, it doesn't even tell you the children's, oh here it is. Guy Jake and his sister, they don't even give her a name, through an ever-changing labyrinth of twists and quarters. I wish there was a pinball table where there was a labyrinth of twists and quarters. That's not true, though. Secret passages? Yes, there was a secret passages. And terrifying encounters with the citizens, denizens. Well, I'd argue with terrifying, but sure, whatever. I really do like Sorcerer's Lair, but Pinball FX2, to wrap up this series, it's got some problems. Like, basic rules here were not brought up to me. What a specific view score was not brought up to me. You can apparently rotate the display if we need to. Like, there's local hot seat. It is controllable by mouse and Xbox 360 controllers, so certainly would work with an Xbox One controller too, and you can probably go through the extra steps of getting PlayStation controls to work too. A lot of the features they brought in by default we turned off. So the pop-up score, remember, by default that was on, so the ball was always showing whatever score you got last, right above its head. Ball trails had a little bit of a ghost happening behind the ball, which is not realistic, so I eventually turned that off. I didn't really have a problem with it, I just wanted a realistic in-game challenge display. We turned that off. That's where your super score is getting higher. Keep on playing, you're about to beat your super score. Very interesting idea to keep you motivated, but also very distracting, and the last thing you want in a pinball game is distractions. And then let's see, if we look at the graphics, which this menu is kind of hard and I keep having to go to things, running with reflections on 1080p and anti-aliasing times 8, that should all run perfectly smoothly on every table, and it just doesn't. I don't see any reason. Here's the credits, and the credits are just done in this cheap fashion. I mean, look at this, they're too lazy to even to make a scrolling text or something. If I come back here now, look at the Zen Studios pinball team. There's There's a managing director, a project lead, a project assistant, CTO, programming. Alright, so the only person on there that actually would have had direct hands on the code or the product would have been the programming lead on the first page. There's one programming guy, and then there's, let's see, 7 playfield design and scripters, and then 2 additional design. So seeing how small this team is, you kind of can see why they shouldn't have been given the licenses in the first place for the new tables. They really didn't earn it, and they really didn't have a big enough team to do it. I would have at least double, if not 5 times as many people working on these tables, making sure they play right and play smoothly. Art lead, 1 person, 3 2D artists, 2 people who do character artists, 6 people that do 3D art, and 2 that do animations, 1 person just in charge of the dark matrix, 1 person alone in charge of the music and sound effects. I think a lot of the music is obnoxious, and a lot of the sound effects are poor choices, or they're missing some good choices. Simple things like the game saying jackpot. QA lead, 1 person, and then 6 people doing the quality assurance. So way too few quality assurance people, and I'm not sure any of those people have played enough pinball in their life, or any pinball, because they let a lot of things going there. Then they go special thanks for friends and families, and that's Zen. And then here we have this crawl of Microsoft Studios, which are just people that are going to test it to make sure it ran on Xbox. And that's it. Marketing, advertising, none of those people actually did anything. They were just publishing. They had to do some localization for the European things and Asia markets, and there was somebody for Windows 8 specifically. There's more people here and more special thanks here for getting it to run on the Xbox than for actually making the game in the first place. And I know this is particularly a game that was not designed originally for PC. This is a game that certainly was all about the legal notices, all about selling it on Xbox Live. And so if this is the about with the legal notices, what are the legal resources here? The privacy policy, code of conduct. Wow, interesting. Interesting to have all that. It's a real hard to say, get this game. It really is. It's free though, so I guess it's real easy to say to get this game too. Get the default thing, play demos of every table, see how you like. If we're gonna get down to the tables I liked, let's go through the list one more time before we wrap up here. I liked Portal because I liked Portal. I liked The Walking Dead because I liked The Walking Dead. I liked The Force Awakens, fine. I liked Star Wars Rebels. Han Solo is probably alright to play. Episode 4 was alright. I did not like Episode 6. Starfighter Assault was okay. Darth Vader I liked a lot. Episode 5 was alright, but not that good. Clone Wars was pretty good, and I think Boba Fett was pretty good. The Super League Soccer Football Club tables, you really got to be a fan of soccer, because it is not really a pinball game, and it's probably not even that good of a pinball game, to such a detriment that you probably wouldn't even like it if you're a fan of soccer. Ant-Man I didn't like, Avengers Age of Ultron I didn't like, Venom, Guardians of the Galaxy, Deadpool, didn't like any of those. Doctor Strange was okay, didn't like Captain America, Fantastic Four was okay, didn't like Civil War, didn't like Avengers, Fear itself was okay, Infinity Gauntlet I liked, World War Hulk was okay, Thor was alright, Moon Knight was alright, but I don't know the character enough. I really liked the Ghost Rider. X-Men was kind of bland. Blade was amazingly good. Iron Man wasn't that good. Spider-Man, I don't think was that good. I don't even remember it. And Wolverine wasn't that good. I liked Wild West Rampage, but it was a very difficult table, so I wouldn't really play that. Castle Storm, didn't blow me away. Explosion Man, Miss Explosion Man did blow me away. Earth Defense did blow me away. Mars, not really. Excalibur, I loved. Paranormal was a little too crazy. Epic Quest was a good idea, but again, not easy to die on level. The first 4 tables that they ever made, Secrets of the Deep, kind of okay because they were almost direct rip-offs of tables, or at least they felt like that. They certainly have this older style to them, and it seems like the older pinball style that they used to make the tables like is slightly better than the new one. So I would probably get the core first original 4. Definitely hated Shaman. Tesla didn't really interest me. Eldorado was pretty good. V12 was an amazingly bad table. And then Sorcerer's Lair, which I don't know why they don't have a picture of the kids here as the icon. But I definitely like Sorcerer's Lair. And then for the ones we haven't bought yet, Alien Pinball. From what I played of all these, well, I can't really throw a judgment to them. None of them seemed like they were super interesting. Maybe the Women of Power Champions or the A-Force team. I think A-Force was more interesting to me. Maybe, but Plants vs. Zombies, the Aliens vs. Predator, the Family Guy Animation Domination here, didn't really like them. I think the South Park tables get the art style done really well, but they didn't feel like very good tables either. So, yes, you can get Pinball FX for free, but it is also worth remembering to test out tables, see if you really like them. A lot of them are not to my liking. Maybe I'm overly critical, maybe I'm just looking for something differently, but yeah, it ran at best 50-50, which is really, really bad for a video game. If I spent 50% of my time playing any other video game, it would be very easy to say don't buy it. If you had to buy all the tables, all 61 of the tables I played so far to get any of them, I would say it's not worth buying, even if it was only $10. Anyways, we've been going long enough. That's it for this series. When I get the other tables on sale, I'll just push out a new video. Don't expect that to happen anytime soon. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be never. Depends on when I have the budget, when things go on sale, when things just lock into place. But yeah, we're done with this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Also, by clicking on my name, Rydo, that takes you to my main YouTube page. There's a playlist tab. You can find a playlist for every game I've ever covered. I've covered a lot of them, so I'm sure you'll find something that interests you. Finally, down below in the description box at the bottom, I have links to all my social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, and Battle.net. So friend and follow me on all of those services. That helps me with those services, and it lets you know when my latest videos are available. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.